Sir, shall we start, sir? Srinivasan, sir.
Yes, please.
Okay, sir. Meanwhile, the participants will join, sir.
Okay.
We shall start, sir.
Keep on joining. Start.
Sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, sir. I have enabled, sir. A very good morning to everyone, and a very happy and prosperous New Year to all. I welcome you all to the fifth day of this 10 days national level online training program on emerging trends in seed production technology and quality control aspects for effective seed supply chain of horticulture crops. And also I wish that as UN has announced this 2021 as year of fruits and vegetables, I wish that all should have more fruits and vegetables in their diet for nutritional security and health benefits. With this, today we have three scheduled lectures. In the morning session, first lecture will be on perspectives and constraints of seed production in spices, medicinal and aromatic crops, which will be delivered by Dr. V. Srinivasan, Principal Scientist, ICAR, IASR, Calicut. Then followed by in the afternoon session, we will be having another two scheduled lecture. One will be on recent advances in the seed storage practices, which will be delivered by Dr. Bapuraya Gowda Patil, Assistant Professor of Seed Science and Technology, University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot. Then followed by another lecture will be on strategies and perspectives of seed supply chain in vegetable seed industry, which will be delivered by a from private seed industry, that is Mr. Satvir Roti, who is a director, Netra Crop Sciences Private Limited, Bangalore. Sir, on behalf of University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot and College of Horticulture, Bidar, we are welcoming you to deliver lecture in the morning session, sir. May I now invite Dr. Ashok Suramsi, sir, to introduce the today's speaker to the participants. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Dhananjay. Very good morning to all the participants and wish you a happy new year. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce Dr. V. Srinivasan, who is the Principal Scientist, Soil Science in ICAR, Indian Institute of Spice Research, Calicut. Sir has 23 years of experience in his area of specialization. Sir, even though Sir is a soil scientist, but he worked his contribution towards the production of seed production in the spice, medicinal and aromatic. Significant contribution in soil fertility, soil chemistry, soil microbiology, in particular to the soils under the spice-based cropping systems. So, Sir has developed 6 crop and soil pH specific macronutrient formulation for major spice, got 3 patent and licensed all the formulation to several entrepreneurs for the commercial production. These formulations have made enhanced yield of black pepper, ginger, turmeric, and cardamom by 15 to 25%. So, and have generated ample revenue for the spice farmer, licensed, and the institute. Sir has developed the soil test based yield response function for a targeted yield in spice and revised the fertilizer recommendation of major spice crops and developed decision support system for fertilizer recommendation. Sir has also developed the organic farming package for major spice, popularized and studies its long-term effect on soil and crop quality. Sir also developed and evaluated the soilless rooting media for planting material production, techniques for orthotrophic shoot production in black pepper and pro-tray method for ginger multiplication. Sir, they also contributed the plant micro interaction and their influence on nutrient use efficiency for spice crops. Sir, he also published more than 45 research papers in various national and international journals with the impact of high impact NASA rating. Here, sir also edited 3 books and author in several chapters and other technical and popular article to his credit. With his huge experience and 23 years of service in the spice and medicinal aromatic plants, sir, I hope all the participants will get this benefit from the sir's today's lecture. Thank you very much, sir. Again, welcome to this session, sir. And I hand over to the Dr. Dhananjay for further session.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for introducing today's speaker, sir. Sir, Srinivasan, sir, over to you, sir.
Yeah, hope my screen is getting shared.
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
So, thanks the organizers of this 10 days training program on planting material production in horticulture crop for improving the productivity of horticulture crops. And I wish a very happy and prospective and healthy New Year for all the participants of this training. Good morning to you all. Today's the topic given to me is the perspectives of quality planting material production in spices, medicinal and aromatic crops. As it was briefed, I am a principal scientist in the Indian Institute of Spices Research, and we mainly work on the mandated spice crops. That is, which we are coming to that. And I have been asked to cover the medicinal and aromatic crops also. So I took the help of my colleagues from DMAPR and also collected several points to add to the quality planting material production aspects of medicinal and aromatic plants also. The perspective of my lecture will be like what is the scenario of production of spices or medicinal crops, and what are the advanced techniques which are being followed in different crops for their quality planting material production, and the agencies and other things where they help in getting quality planting material production in spices and medicinal aromatic crops. To start with, we are already in a pandemic situation during 2020. It started by March, and we are all running for our immunity, and we are just waiting in this to 2021 also. We are waiting for a good vaccine to help us to move around. Otherwise, the main strategy everybody is advocating is to have an immunity for ourselves. So where do we get an immunity? Our diet, because amply it was told in the 2021 is the year of fruits and vegetables. We have to have a good dietary in our schedule so that we boost our immunity. Where the spices and medicinal aromatic crops play a vital role in boosting our immunity, as many of the spice crops are the which are all having means antimicrobial or all the positive effects of antibiotic compounds in that. So which the addition into our dietary will boost our health and immunity. So in that category, these crops, even though their volume of production in the horticulture crops is less, their value is tremendously high. In the case of adding flavor to our diet or to boost our well-being, wellness of means our life, these crops play a main role. See, in case of spices, it comes when around 52 spices are under recognized by the means Government of India by the Spice Board Act in 1986, of which Indian Institute of Spices Research we are mandated to do on 12 major crops. And spices, they constitute an area of around 15 to 16% in the horticulture crops of India, where the production is meagerly when we take up the output of vegetables and fruits the spice combination, it gives around 2.8% only in the production share. But when we go on the value terms, it's tremendously high. And to be specific, spices are grown in an area of 3.85 million hectares with a production of around 9.4 million tons. And the medicinal and aromatic crops are grown in an area of 6.5 lakh hectares and with a production of 8.2 lakh tons of mainly. And most of the, even though the spices are in an organized sector under to an extent like cardamom and black pepper or cultivate and cinnamon, they're all cultivated on a plantation. The medicinal aromatic plants majority are still as a like the organized cultivation of limited, and mostly almost 60-70% of the medicinal aromatic crops are still under a forest collection or a wild collection category. And when we talk about the value of these crops, out of like spices stands fourth place in the value of agriculture crops exported during these years. Like and still, in spite of pandemic, where we are saying like our export value of commercial crops have going down, the spices lead with the 15% of increase in export even during the pandemic of 2021. Um, and it stands at the fourth place in value of export. Almost 18,000 crores have been means we got like, but still we import some of the spices for their intrinsic quality and for a specific purpose. And as I was telling, like Indian Institute of Spices research is mandated with the major spices and a coordinated network of 39 centers across the different agroclimatic zones of India, involving SAUs and other ICR organizations. We are dealing with additional 8 crops. The major spice crops are black pepper, cardamom, small and large cardamom, ginger, turmeric, nutmeg, and cinnamon, clove. These are all the crops which are deal with Indian Institute of Spices Research. And the seed spices like cumin, fennel, fenugreek, coriander, all comes kala jeera. All these things, all these things are covered under seed spices category, whereas dedicated institute of NRC on seed spices is at Ajmer. And all these spices are mainly taken for its flavor and the phytochemicals. Like piper, you can say like it has a alkaloid like piperin, and cardamom one-eight cineol, which imparts flavor to that and adds aroma. And in the case of ginger, it is gingerol. And mainly in spices, the oleoresin component is the major part of it. Like turmeric, it is curcumin, which is an antimicrobial, anti-cancerous, and all those effects. In each spice has its own phytochemical, which serves as a with the health component. And in the case of medicinal aromatic crops, India exports around in the raw form itself up to 330 million US dollars, and with a growth rate of almost 14 to 15% every year. It is growing always. The demand is always high. When they say like in the case of some of the medicinal crops, even 9,000 tons of 90,000 tons of material is needed every year. The domestic demand itself has been estimated like 1.595,000 tons per year. That is which where I was telling like 30% is sourced from cultivation, where the 70% is still comes as a forest produce. And mint and mint products leads the export with 22,000 tons of the produce which is exported, where the mint products like menthol or oil or oleoresin, whatsoever the value added products, almost around 3,900 crores. and oils and oleoresins, whether it is of a medicinal product or the spice product, is forming the major component in the export of the spices and medicinal and aromatic crops. Like it earns around 2,500 crores annually, and which they constitute these mint and oleoresin component alone contribute around 30% of the export of this group of crops when of the value. Because the rest 70% is much of raw produce, whether it is in spice or in the medicinal crops which we do. And in the case of medicinal crops, I may be covering, there are galaxy of crops like ICER, DMAPR, Directorate of Medicinal and Aromatic Plant Research has some 9 crops as their mandated crops, but there are galaxy of crops, like more than 30 crops are dealt under All India Coordinator Research Project on medicinal and aromatic plants across the ecoregions of different SAUs and other universities. So I'll be taking through this the major planting material production technologies which have been updated on different crops, only in the case of major spices and which are mostly vegetatively propagated, um, and some of the medicinal and aromatic crops were into the glimpses, because the time is limited and we cannot means we cannot deal with all the crops, because many of these crops are not in the organized cultivation. It's mostly on the collection part. And the major issues when we say like constraints the overall production of spices and medicinal crops, the major this one, because the demand is very high, where see almost like 90% of our production is consumed inside. That is the major advantage which we have as in India, as an advantage, rather than even in the spices. When we are talking about black pepper specifically, we have our own competitors like Vietnam or Malaysia or other countries, Southeast Asian countries, which they compete for their production. Their production levels are very high when compared to us. But the overall, whatever they produce, it comes to the foreign market. Like they consume less than 2% or 5% of their production, and everything comes in the foreign trade market. But where we have a cushion of 90% of our production in spices are consumed within India, where we have a strong local market, and only 10% we are going for export. And even increase of a growth of 8 to 10% growth in the export market itself will earn good foreign exchange for our country. And as the main aspect of improving the production to have an export surplus in these crops, the high value crops, is the variety, the high yielding variety, and its availability to the farmers or the cultivators as a quality planting material available for production. Because most of the spice crops which we have listed are into some cases in some in the medicinal crops also, they are in perennial in nature. When you are dealing with the perennial crop, the crop replaceability ratio is very less. So once they are planted, in the case of black pepper or cardamom in the case, like it will be there for 5 to 7 years. In the case of black pepper, 30 years the crop will be there. And in the case of cinnamon or nutmeg, the plant is going to be there for 50 years or 80 years. So the replaceability is not there. So whenever a planter, a farmer is going for a planting, he should go for a selected good variety first, and for which the planting material should be made available to him. So there only the seed production or the planting material production chain makes the importance. So there we have to ensure the quality planting material, and also when the perennial crops are being concerned, even for the annual crops like ginger and turmeric, or in other material, wherever the pathogens are the biotic constraints are the major factors. Like in the case of ginger and turmeric, The major biotic factors are the rhizome rot caused by soil-borne pathogens are feeding also. So there, the quality of the planting material is much more higher of importance. Like when we supply a good quality disease-free planting material, that solves the problem at the field level up to 50% or 60% of the crop production constraints. And mainly in the case of medicinal crops, which is still the practices of collecting from the farm forest, this one, loss of biodiversity is a concern because the over exploitation or over exploitation or harvesting of the medicinal plants which are grown under naturally under biodiversity conditions. If the over harvesting is done, we lose the crop. Wherever there is no systematic cultivation, we need to bring the rare species under conservation and also to produce a lot of planting material and ease the farmer to go with the systematic cultivation. And the recent climate change scenario, whether it is high or less rainfalls or erratic rainfalls and high temperature regimes, also threat the existence of many of these medicinal crops. And lack of and excessive use of pesticides or fertilizers during cultivation, because the limited people are growing that and they want more productivity, and that leads to a lot of usage of inputs. Indiscriminate use also it is being done. And since these crops are directly involved in the homeopathy or Ayurveda preparations, whatever the residues which we get in these produce proves to be vital. It gets into the food chain of the medicine, because these are all medicinal crops. So that gets into the food chain very easily. So where we have to have a emphasis for good agriculture practices.
ছিল না এত বড় রুম পেয়েছিস তুই, আমাদের তো কোনো রুম
These spice crops and also medicinal aromatic crops, where we get a safe produce for the production side. And the post-harvest and value addition technologies are the key issues in the case of spices and medicinal aromatic crops, where the bulk is not consumed, only the alkaloids or the principles which are active ingredients are extracted. So there should not be any loss of active ingredients due to mishandling of the produce, which may happen at the field level. So farmers need to be educated on primary post-harvest activities like reduction in moisture and storing it means without any contaminations, and then going for value addition. And residues, which is directly linked to the production techniques, where we are emphasizing for good agriculture practices to reduce the residual or contamination present in the produce. And finally, everything linked to market price. Like these are specific crops for the specific purpose. Like unless otherwise, it's all being backed up by the industries. The whole exercise will be futile for farmers. Like even whether it is, even though we say like in spices we consume 90%, but a retailer, a farmer cannot directly go to a retailer and get it, because the volume of the produce is very less for his having the advantage of negotiation. So the volume makes it, and the farmer should get a high price. To take an example of ginger, even though this is a pandemic year, there is a consumption of all these ginger based products, like whether we take tea or decoctions, like so many combinations we get in all our WhatsApp medicines and other things. But still, this year the ginger price has gone down so much. Like last year, the ginger price was 3,000 to 4,000 rupees per bag of 60 kg. This year, current season, it is flying around 800 to 900 rupees, where the farmers don't get price. And maybe due to the pandemic and loss of transportation facilities and niche market, they could not deliver. But these all add to the market support, so that the farmers are encouraged to go for more planting. So these are all the common issues, whether it is a spices or medicinal aromatic plants. But here in the further slides, I will be concentrating mainly on the quality planting material availability on different crops. Yeah. In case of spices, because I have the advantage as being a scientist of spices and plantation crops, spice crops mandated, the requirement, even if you say like in a crop like black pepper, which is a perennial, the as I was earlier telling, like the replacement ratio is very less. So once it is planted, it will be there for 20 years, 30 years. So what is the replacement? This area under the crop is around 1.3 lakh hectares. And even to means have a replanting program of replanting senile vines or non-yielding varieties, non-yielding or low-yielding varieties with the high-yielding varieties. Even if you target for a 0.5% of an area yearly, you need around 14 lakh cuttings in that year. And if you meager replacement ratio of 2% of area to be replaced in a year, you need around 5 to 6 crore cuttings for this one. And with the infrastructure which is available among the certified nurseries and the programs which is being taken under MIDH, like Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture, we cannot supply even like we can just barely meet the requirement of 2% this one. And if a program has to go at 2% alone, and how many years it will take for replacement? At least if you plan for 5% of area, we need almost double, like 10 crore or 15 crore number of cuttings, where the production system has to be backed up for the quality planting material production of high yielding varieties, and a lot of much effort is needed. And similarly, in the case of ginger and turmeric, where here the crop replacement can be done at every year, where a new area can grow like even 2% or 3% of area has to go, like you need around 3.2 lakh tons of 3.2 or 4.5 lakh tons of seed material to be going for replacement. A similar case in the case of tree spices like clove or nutmeg or cinnamon, where we need around 8,000 to 70,000 plants per year to be produced of high yielding varieties with the quality, disease free and high quality material to get it replaced. So similar it is the case for other materials also. And in the case of other medicinal aromatic crops, it is bit easier because they are all mostly annual or short period in nature, and the production is through seeds. So majority of the this one are done by seeds or slips, which are easy for multiplication. So we'll see crop by crop how we can do that to at least some extent to increase the productivity of the planting materials by advanced techniques. So in case of pepper, we use three type of branches for planting. That is one which many of the participants, I don't know whether they have seen pepper, and maybe those who are in Bidar around and in Karnataka, they might have. All the others, it's an opportunity to see that. Like it's a wine. So it produces top shoots which are orthotropic in nature, which goes up. Okay. So there are fruit bearing lateral branches that's called plagiotropic shoots. And when you root them, it grows as a bush. And there are runner shoots which trail around the ground, which that is the normal planting material which is being used for this crop. So we have advanced techniques like rapid multiplication techniques, where the multiplication ratio is 1:40. From one plant in a year, we can get 40 plants per year. So this method is a Sri Lankan method which has been improvised for our Indian conditions, and it is being followed in many of the universities and the major nucleus planting material centers, where they multiply it in this ratio, because these vines have a nature of put forthing root at each node. So each node, the medium is introduced, and it has been induced to root at each node. And after that, each rooted nodes are cut into single plants and then planted in bags, where the multiplication ratio is 1:40. Then another method, where the bamboo method, we have a cost for bamboos and having a shed and other things, where the farmers cannot invest that much. We have modified it for a serpentine layering method, where even in the poly bag itself, the plants are allowed to grow, and each rooting nodes of the poly bags, rooting nodes have been given with medium with poly bags, where the plants have been means induced to root at each node. We get very good root system with 100% establishment. And once the roots are established, like if 20 bags have been in place, almost 15 bags, the bag 15 bags are rooted. Like only the beginning means the bags in the front, where the growth is happening, the growth tip is having, are to be rooted. So in that thumb rule, we can have a cutting and all these interventions like suitable potting mixture, sterilized potting mixture, and having a biocontrol application into the potting mixture, fortification through PGPRs or biocontrol agents. All these techniques are available and it can be planted. Here the multiplication ratio is 1:60. Even 60 cuttings from one cutting we could get in a year. So the multiplication rate has been increased tremendously. And we have modified that with the bed method, so that the number of cuttings can be increased. Where the area is more, you can have the profuse growth of the cuttings, and then multiplication rate can be increased with that. And when each node has been rooted, and it can be separated from the mother and then put it in a pro tray, pluck trays, or even in the poly bags with medium, and it can be served as a individual plants, where this growing medium itself is enriched with biocontrol agents like trichoderma or pochonia, like that, or pseudomonas fluorescens and all those bioagents, so that the cuttings are fortified. Because in the long duration crops like pepper, the major biotic factor also comes from a root pathogen called Phytophthora, which is soil borne. So you have to enrich your roots with VAM and all these bioagents at the nursery stage itself, so that it gives a better establishment and field. So we have also gone with another vertical column method, where the major production is through top shoots, like which I showed in the first slide. Like there are limited number of top shoots you can collect it from the field, because and a vine grows of 10 or 20 or 30 feet high. The harvesting of top shoot is not practical. So what we have done is, we try to grow it as a column inside the nurseries itself, and then we induce the plants to produce as number of top shoots as possible, and then those top shoots are harvested and made into 2 or 3 node cuttings and rooted in mediums and supply. The advantage of these top shoots as a planting material as compared to the runner shoots from black pepper is, the top shoots, the gestation period for flowering is reduced. The top shoots always behaves as a faster growing materials, and in the normal planting material where the runners are being used for black pepper, the third year only we will be getting the first crop. Whereas when we use the top shoots as a planting material, we get the first crop in the second year itself. 1 year gestation period can be reduced. And the multiplication ratio is also very good. Like in this system, we have developed we follow this type of a system for nucleus planting material production, where we have 20 varieties in place. Now all the released 20 varieties are being multiplied like this. And then we supply all the type of planting materials like top shoots, then runner shoots, and also bush pepper. The plagiotropic shoots, which I was highlighting, that is the lateral branches which produce pepper. So if those nodes are being rooted, it grows as a bush. So that bush is an excellent material See, these are the different type of branches and rooting systems which are possible. So it produces lateral branches also. When it is rooted, it produces only bush. And orthotropic and the plagio means runner shoots where which are coming from the same nurseries can be used as a planting material for field. And these bush peppers can be an op material for meeting the urban garden requirements like terrace gardens or urban horticulture requirements, where the polyhouse cultivation of pepper can be done under controlled conditions so that you can meet the domestic requirement of pepper, so that the exportable surplus comes from the field. So these are all the major techniques which are being used by the research organization. These techniques have been developed by IASR, and we are using disease-free planting material where it is soilless, that is the carpet compost with vermicompost combination enriched with all bioagents as a apt rooting medium for black pepper or for pluck trays also. We have made it as a pluck trays with the advantages. The root system is very good and individual nodes will supply as a very good planting material, and within 3 or 4 months you get a plantable cutting which can be easily transported. Yeah, so these techniques have been already developed and it is available. So these are all some of the glimpses of the pro-tray method of black pepper shoot rooter cuttings production, where it goes as a planting material. So our supply goes like this. Uh, so the research institutions under MIDH program, there are 30 agriculture universities and other institutions which produce these high yielding varieties of black pepper and supply to the farmers. And even with that, we don't even meet 15 to 20 or 30% of the annual requirement of cutting production. So under MIH programs, even certified nurseries are being developed at the private entrepreneurs level, and then the supply is being made. They coming to the crop like cardamom. Here we use means the method of production is in different like seeds and clonal multiplication with suckers and micropropagation are also the major methods where the supply of seed quality seeds are planting materials are being done. But the seeds as it has an open pollinated crop, a cross pollinated crop, and the variability is very high. So we discourage farmers to use seeds. But still, some of the leading varieties developed by farmers like Nallayani Green Gold or through seeds only being done, they select from a selected population. They field plant and then they row it out. Then at the commercial multiplication level, the research organization, they supply at suckers. The trench method of sucker multiplication has been standardized by our institute, where we get around 1:20 is the multiplication rate by this trench method of multiplication, and the slips are being separated out and then supplied to the farmers or the plant with 4 to 5 leaf stage. It is being supplied. Micropropagation techniques also have been standardized, but not commercially means adopted as it is costly. And this is a glimpse of nursery where we get the cardamom planting material supplied. And in the case of ginger and turmeric, when coming to the crop like ginger or turmeric, both these are rhizomatous crops, and they are annually it is grown. But some of the tracts like Orissa or where the tribal tracts or Andhra, biennially they grow. Like they don't harvest at 1 year and they harvest in the second year, thinking that the yield will double. No, that is not the case. But the main the cost involved in the production of ginger and turmeric is the seed cost, because it covers up to 50 to 60% of the cost of production of ginger and turmeric, the seed. Because the seed requirement goes from 1500 to 2000 kg per hectare. So And the major biotic factors in the production are rhizome rot and bacterial wilt. These two pathogens are either soil-borne or seed-borne. So your selection of seed is the primary means which input, which takes care of almost 50 to 60% of your success of the crop production. And with the production and economics which is involved in ginger and turmeric, some of the Karnataka colleagues will know, like 3 to 4 lakhs investment in an acre gives out like 10 lakhs output. Like it's a very economic uh, proportion. And here, as the seed, our major objective was to reduce the seed uh, need. So we have developed usually 20 to 25 gram per seed piece per plant is the recommended one, which almost 30,000 plants per acre. So our requirement will be like 1.5 to 2 tons of seed rhizomes per hectare. So what we try to do by this technique is we made a small piece, that is 5 gram piece, with a bud, active bud. That piece alone is being used as a planting material, where the seed nursery can be raised in a pro tray like as that of any vegetable crop, and 30 to 45 days nursery period, the plantlets will grow and you can transplant it in the field once the field is ready. So the advantage is the seed cost is reduced. Here, 1/3 reduction of seed requirement is there. So if you need 1.5 tons, you need around 400 to 500 kg only for this method. Another, the major advantage is if the seed is infected, you can treat it at nursery stage, you can get the cure, and if still some portion is disease affected, you can discard it at nursery level. It will not be carried to the field stage. So you are controlling the disease also. And another advantage is it's mostly these two crops are grown as rain-fed crops. If there is any delay in rain, you can manipulate your date of planting as they are safely under nursery. Once it is field planted, you cannot have a control unless otherwise in irrigated crops. These are all the advantages, and these mediums are also been standardized and rightly fortified. Fortification has been can be done with the all the bio control agents at the pro tray level, and it can be transplanted at the field. So this is has been given as a technology for the because we license the varieties for as a seed village. So as the need, as I was telling, 3.5 lakh tons of ginger and turmeric is needed every year to go for planting, even to replace good yielding variety. You want to introduce, you need to have even for a replacement in a 2.2% or 5% area. So the farmers can be encouraged to grow, take up villages. We can identify seed villages where there they can grow only as a seed crop, because the cost of seed, like it costs around, even though the bulk ginger or bulk turmeric costs you 10 to 15 rupees green per kg, the seed ginger will go normally cost around 50 to 60 rupees per kg, and it may go up to 100 150 rupees per kg when there is a demand. Seed ginger and seed turmeric also goes up to 60 rupees per kg. So it can be taken up as a as a profession, like certified seed production in case of ginger and turmeric. Because as a horticulture crop, there is no as a vegetative propagator crop, there is no seed chain. So we are promoting such a type of seed science to through licensing. Yeah. So these are all the benefits which I was telling about. And this is a glimpse of nursery where a mass production nurseries are being raised. Even our AICRP centers are supplying different varieties, like 2 lakh planting materials can be raised in a single nursery, and then it can be distributed to farmers. So the spread of high yielding varieties and ensured quality planting materials are reaching farmers for adoption. And because the medicinal properties, yeah, ginger, turmeric, all these spices are medicinally important. And we have crops like even black turmeric, like that can be also produced in these type of multiplication ratios, and then kasturi turmeric. So these are all in high demand. They for because as they have many antimicrobial, means antioxidant compounds, the industry wants it. So there is any buyback, we can promote that by means faster seed multiplication through these techniques. Uh, See, as I was telling, the major biotic fact is seed-borne also. We wanted to have a good disease-free protocol for multiplication of seeds, where in microrhizomes or the technology which has been developed by our organization on ginger and turmeric, where the disease-free planting materials are produced even through tissue culture techniques, and then it serves as a nucleus material for further multiplication. It can be multiplied under polyos condition into kgs. Then after that, it can be given to the field for adoption, where your materials are disease free. And we have this year we have released a mutant which is resistant to soft rot of ginger, which will be made in the seed chain in the years to come. Then another crop is where nutmeg, where seeds are also used for propagation, but as the variability is high, and male and female trees are different in the case of nutmeg. We always go for vegetative propagation. Identification of male and female is very difficult till it comes to flowering, which has incubation period of 5 years at least, and vegetative propagation is being followed for the commercial multiplication and distribution in the horticulture chain. So this will mainly vegetative propagation like budding and epicotyl grafting are the two major methods which are used for nutmeg. This one, where that reduces the pre-bearing period of the gestation period of the trees also, and we can anytime make any tree bearable by this type of method like budding. And Kerala Agriculture University also recommends budding it on because Myristica fragrans is the commercially cultivated species, where Myristica bedomi and Myristica malabarica can be used as a rootstocks, and compatibility is very good. We get almost 90 to 100% success in our multiplication. Our institute has released two varieties, ISR Vishwashree and ISR Kerala Sri, which are all high yielding, where epicotyl grafting is one of the one where top shoots and also side shoots, plagiotropic shoots are used for grafting, and yeah, we do with more of plagiotropic grafting, where the trees of spreading nature rather than a column nature, where with the at a place of labor scarcity, we can promote in more adaptive in integrated cropping systems in coconut or arecanut planting systems, or in any fruit tree combination systems, where it can very well fitted into that, and the harvesting is also easier.
يلا
Like
كل
so these are all some of the techniques, epicotyl grafting, where successful grafts are being produced, and mass multiplication is also. And majority of the nutmeg varieties in the farmers field are farmers identified varieties, which are high yielding trees have been identified by the farmers for good nut and maize yield, entire maize, and with good color. And then the characterization is done. The biochemical characterization is done at the research institute like AAU or IASR, and we promote the farmers varieties also. So those varieties are being multiplied at our AACRP centers at KAU, and also other at Konkan Krishi Vidyapeeth, then at TNAU. These are all the major centers which are working on nutmeg. And another spice where the bark is being used is cinnamon, where the main alkaloid is cinnamaldehyde and eugenol. It's also there. Clove is the major one with the eugenol. And here, in the case of cinnamon, it's a poor man's crop. We can say like it can come up in any base plants also because the care requirement is less, and the topping is done at regular intervals of once in 3 years, and the bark is removed. So mostly it's being done as a seedling. Even though there is a variation up to 10 to 15% or 20% variation, the two types you get around 80% of the seedlings are two types, and we promote seedlings also. And other vegetative propagation which is being done in cinnamon is air layering. So we fix air layers, and that is also being used as a major method for distribution. And these crops like cinnamon and the crop going to come like clove are the ones where we import much. Like the cinnamon, true cinnamon is cinnamon viram, which is being cultivated in Sri Lanka and India. And China, it is growing is cassia cinnamon. So that is being imported into India. So that is being that is not a true cinnamon, but it is also a cinnamon species. So what we majorly consume is the cassia as this. So we have identified, and the alkaloid like coumarin, which is there in cassia and which is very less in true cinnamon, is found to be a carcinogen. So we have identified even cassia lines with low coumarin content, and we are promoting through air layering and seedling distribution. A variety has been released by one of our ACRP centers, that is Konkan Krishi Vidyapith, on cassia with the low coumarin content, and is being uh, promoted in the seed chain now. Then another spice which we are this one is clove, which is commercially propagated by seeds only, where the mother clove are being harvested from the trees, and they are used as a planting material for directly raising the seedlings and then planting. So here we have only one variety, Pechiparai 1, which is from our ACRP center of TNAU. So that is the only variety which is available now. Otherwise, it's very location specific crop where it is being cultivated in the altitudes, medium altitudes of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. It's very specific, and here also our we import almost 50 to 60% of our domestic consumption comes as import. So this crop need to be uh, future taken care by more of area coming for expansion, and we need more of planting material production. So MADH has a special program for multiplying more clove seedlings and distributing it to farmers, and wherever the crop can be taken up to increase the productivity, so that we can substitute importing. So these are the major ACRP nurseries, like in our Dapoli center, ACRP center, and Pechipare centers. We have a main project, and at IASR also we have a project of majorly multiplying clove seedlings and distribution to the farmers. Another is a crop where vanillin is the one, is the compound, and this is being multiplied with cuttings, rooted cuttings in bag, and tissue culture plants are also. Tissue culture, mainly spices board, is involved in multiplying the tissue culture. Standardized tissue protocols are available, and it was being distributed. But now, as the demand and acceptance of the crop is, it's mostly it is driven by the price of the crop, and it comes and goes in every 10 year 5 to 10 year cycle. So the farmers also switch over to its based on the price aspect, but it can be easily grown up under integrated cropping systems in coconut or arecanut plantations, where uh, cutting with 8 to 10 internodes can be easily rooted in a rooting medium, or directly planting in the soil with good humid and irrigated facilities, it can come up easily. Here, this crop, the pollination is more tricky than rooting and planting material production. To highlight some of the medicinal crops, the major medicinal crop like Safed Musli, where the roots are the major medicinal portions and used as a revitalizer or a sex tonic or remedy for diabetics or arthritic, etc. The seed production or propagation is done with the true seeds. These are many of us might have not seen how the seeds of Savet mostly looks like. So this is the seed, and it's a lightweight one, and it is also vegetatively propagated through its fleshy roots. Stem disc, shoot, buds are also used as a major component for multiplication. And seeds, that means the fleshy roots are the sprouts which have been produced during the previous year. 3 to 4 grams roots are ideally used for piece of roots are being ideally used for multiplication. It can be, and the seeds, if rather nurseries and going for transplanting is a viable technology where only up to 8 to 9 kg seeds is required for raising the seedlings for 1 hectare planting, where the seeds are sown in raised beds and it can germinate in 5 to 6 days. Then 1 month old plants are planted in the main field. And the plant population recommended is around 3 to 3.3 lakh plants per hectare. And vegetative, as the roots are the medicinal value crops, they don't they will lose that much of roots if they use that as a planting material. So seeds are always preferred as a planting material. Another crop like Isabgol. Isabgol, which the domestic demand goes up to 90,000 tons per year, which I was telling you. Like it's a age old crop which is being used under different Ayurvedic medicines and other medicinal preparations, and which has a very small seeds, that flagged seeds type, and 1,000 seeds weighs around only 2 grams, and we need a seed rate of 4 to 8 kg per hectare. So, and for its germination, there is a post dormancy seed, dormancy is there. So, to reliable germination, they need a particular temperature. So, it's around the germination. To get a germination up to 90%, you need to have the temperature around 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Then the temperature is bit high, like humid conditions. The means germination is good, and it is very good in to raise it under nursery conditions and supply the planting materials. And this also at means it is planted in the field at the line sowing of 30 by 5 centimeter space. There are varieties available. See here the seeds and those coverings, seed coats, are the major materials which are used for the medicinal purpose. There are varieties available like Gujarat Isabgol 123 by Anand Agriculture University, and Haryana Agriculture University has a variety, and CMAP has released varieties. Then another medicinal crop which is being commonly used, every one of us use it in daily life, is um, aloe vera. This the leaf juice is the main ingredient which is being used as this one, and gel which they make out of the leaf sap is also used in cosmetic preparations. And the propagation is, the common propagation is the root suckers. So 3 to 4 months old root suckers having 4 to 5 leaves are being used as a major planting material, and we need around 40,000 to 55,000 suckers per hectare. So here also high alanine varieties which have around 20 to 23% of alanine have been released by different research organizations. And here the main this one it's under contract farming only, like major industries comes, we need to have a tie up with the industry so that the material is disposed of safely, like there is a purchaser. Then in case of ashwagandha and another medicinal crop, uh, where the alkaloids are steroidal lactones are the main medicinal properties, and the ashwagandha, the roots, the fleshy roots and stem portion is also being used for medicinal purpose. The main propagation is by seeds. These are all the fruits. The picture shows you the fruits of ashwagandha, from which the seeds are being extracted. And the seeds, it can be directly broadcasted in the field also, which needs around 12 kg seed per hectare. But the efficient or cost effective method is to have a nursery and transplant it. And it means treatment with GA has been standardized with 500 ppm overnight, improves the germination up to 80 to 90%, and usually it is being planted. Nursery is raised in July, August, and the seeds germinate in 5 to 8 days. Like 31-month old seedlings are transplanted. Uh, as a pro seedling, it can be, the seed rate can be reduced by 2.5 kg per hectare. That is 1/5. You can reduce the seed requirement for meeting the multiplication rate, and the gestation period in nursery by also can be reduced by 10 days when it is raised on pro trees. And in case of gloriosa, where the tubers are the major medicinal portion, uh, its tubers are being used for multiplication. It produces V-shaped tubers, and and if it is from seeds, they need 3 to 4 years to flower. But in the case of tuber, it flowers early, and the plants are also more vigorous. And but the tubers are very fragile, and it has to be handled very carefully. And size of the tubers, it's a good mature tuber weighing not weighing less than 50 to 60 grams are used for this one. Large tubers can be divided into two by breaking them, and then it can be it starts sprouting, and it's about 2.5 to 3 tons of tubers are required for planting, and the selected tubers can be treated with this selective fungicides to avoid any nursery this one, and it can be and those raised plants can be transplanted in the field. And in the case of crops like diascorea, where rhizome is the major portion, the propagation is done. The standard methods have been developed by the ACRP centers like Kerala Agriculture University and so many Tamil Nadu Agriculture or Andhra Agriculture Universities. Like seeds are used, rhizome pieces, stem cutting. The most popular one is the stem cutting. There are three types of shoots it produce, that is middle portion, distal portion, crown portion. And in the case of tuber rhizomes, and they are only the medial portions are popularly used as material for multiplication. Yeah, and it is being treated with fungicides and raised in raised beds, and then 30 days the sprouted crowns are removed, and the median and that is the top portion, and the medium and tip portions again covered with sand, and within 60 to 75 days it complete sprouts are planted in the field. Field planting is done in June, July, or after the receipt of the monsoon, and proper trellis systems can be provided, should be provided for a proper uh, handling of the crop. And in the case of stem cuttings also, it gives up to 80% and success, and the rate of multiplication, the cost of multiplication is cheaper here, and it the methods have been standardized for stem cuttings also. So 1 to 2 month old vines are taken and cut into single node cuttings with one leaf, and after rooting, it is transplanted into polybags. After 2 months, it is transformed to field. So this is much more cheaper method of multiplication and planting. And in the case of aromatic crops like lemongrass, seeds, vegetative propagation, rooted slips, these are all commercially being um, followed at different agencies for covering up. Like due to high cost of transplanting, direct seeding is also being taken up in places like Kerala. And nursery raising is done with the seed rate of 20 to 25 kg per hectare. And what for raising the seedlings, at least 100 meters, 1000 meters area is needed to cover up 1 hectare a field planting rate. The nursery seed rate is 3 to 4 kg per hectare. And in the case like another some of the crops like where the aromatic the leaves are being extracted, like rosemary, vegetative propagation through stem cuttings are popularly is the easy planting material where it produces easy cuttings can be multiplied. It can be rooted in polybags under nursery conditions or under the protary conditions, and it can be given to the farmers for planting. And it serves as a biennial crop. So a gap filling in each year at the rate of 10% will easily cover up the requirement. And in the case of mentha, where the major export from Indian aromatic industry is through from this crop, and the propagation material is the suckers or runners or growing tips. The easily because farmers they do like UP, half of the area in Mehsana district is of this crop, like where the farmers adopted this crop like anything, and they are commercially growing it also. Easy to multiply where the advantageous roots produce, and those runners are made into single cuttings, and each root bit is being planted. Like so suckers are commonly used. 500 to 600 kg of suckers per hectare is needed. And with the irrigation, the crop can yield you very good 200 kg of oil per hectare is the rate which they take up the crop. And in the case of geranium, where the oil is taken, there is no seed setting in case of geranium. So here also the root slips are being used, and the middle and basal cuttings gives poor rooting, and it can be improved by treating with regulators like IBA or IA at 200 ppm. Rooting and the propagation to leaf petioles also have been standardized at CMAP, and that also gives us a good rate of multiplication of rooted cuttings in this crop, and can be transported. So this I have given a very few crops in medicinal and aromatic crop. This is not the whole list. These are all only a major crop which have been grown. Otherwise, there are umpteen number of medicinal and aromatic crops which are in the cultivation. Uh, uh, and to save it, like this horticulture crop production, like any other fruits and vegetables, mission on integrated development of horticulture covers up these crops also. So under NHB, to set up these crop medicinal and aromatic crops comes under the National Medicinal Board, Plant Board, where they give subsidies for high-tech nurseries between 1 to 4 hectares, and to produce 25,000 plants there is a separate budget, and 50,000 plant capacity there is a separate budget. Or for a perennial or tree spice or a medicinal aromatic plants, they have scheme for the crop we say. And the nurseries can be in a public sector unit or in a private sector unit. There are procedure for that, and then they do funding. They comes under the certified nursery programs of these agencies, where an expert comes and certify you, and the planting material produce is channelized for this one. Then in case of spice crops, Directorate of Spices and Arecanut and Spices Development (DASD) at Calicut is the nodal agency, and all these crops we have good agriculture practices for planting material production. Generally, the crop production GAP suits for this also, and additionally we have dust guidelines also. Uh, so these dust guidelines have been developed, means already in place for many of these spice crops. We have developed dust guidelines for black pepper, cardamom, ginger, turmeric, and nutmeg in place. And in case of medicinal crops like Isabgol and few more crops also, DMAPR has given the dust guidelines. So any farmers variety, a promising farmers variety, or any released variety will be tested under that, and that will be thus guidelines also, because in case of major spice crops, the mother plant garden plays a major role in any of their gardens. They will certify the nursery in first in place, whether you have a mother garden. In case of perennial crops like black pepper or cardamom or nutmeg, so mother scion material supply or rooted cutting supply is a major one when compared to the other seed grown spices. So there is seed production standards also in place for the seed multiplied spices, or in case of other medicinal aromatic plants. And they also give projects for tissue culture units. So the technologies from these research organizations can be transferred to the private entrepreneurs for starting a tissue culture unit or any means production, multiplication production unit. And ICR, ISR or the DMAPR have a program on licensing also. The quality nucleus seeds we supply to the licensee with an non-exclusive licensing issued, and he can take up the seed production under the license of this ICR Institute or any other sponsoring agency, where the experts will visit the field and certify the nature of the crop. And that is also a program which can take up on a large scale for certified production of the quality seeding materials for faster dispersion and adoption by the farmers. So these are in short for because they told in 1 hour time it has to be covered. So I tried to squeeze in all the crops in the technologies in and the time limit possible, and I could give you some tips on the production technologies of seed of major spices and medicinal and aromatic crops. And sir, so I have finished my lecture, and
Thank,
if you have any queries, we can discuss, please.
thank you so much, Dr. Srinivasan sir, for giving such a nice, very elaborative and in-depth information about allotted topic. With the permission of speaker, now the session is open for discussion. If any participant wants to ask question, kindly just unmute yourself and you can ask the question.
Hello. Hello. Good morning, sir. Hello.
Yes, please.
Am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay, good. Very happy New Year, sir.
Yeah,
And you have
thank
given
you.
a very elaborative, nice. Sir, I have a query, sir. In one slide, you have shown that the disease-free planting material of ginger and turmeric.
Yeah.
So, is there any standard protocol for pro-tray method and tissue culture method, sir, for disease-free planting material? Sir,
Yes, we have a protocol for pro-tray method, as well as in the case of tissue culture, we produce micro-rhizome protocol. We have a protocol for that also. Yeah.
so if you kind enough, sir, can I get this, sir?
Thing is, you can visit our website and give us a mail. Okay, or you
Okay,
give me a mail to that, so that I can ask the concern to share the protocol. please.
Okay, sir. Kindly give your mail ID, sir.
My mail ID, whether the chat is there, I can type it.
Sir, we can post it in chat box, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. This is Devanusi Datta from Assam Agriculture University.
Yeah,
Thank you,
welcome,
sir.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Actually, for your information, AAU has one of our AICRP center also.
Okay, sir.
Dr.
Yes, sir.
Dekha is in charge of that, and you can visit the center and get information also.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, so much of disturbance here. Yeah, Mr. Hari wants to ask some question, but he's having a lot of disturbance. Yeah, please.
Hello, sir. Is it
Sir.
audible?
Oh my God.
Harish sir, kindly ask.
Yeah, Srinivasan sir. Namaste, sir.
Yeah, Harish, how are you? Fine.
Fine, sir. Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year.
So it's pleasure to hear from you about spices, sir. It was
Thank
a
you.
nice session.
Thank you. We
So only I
otherwise
should thank Dhananjay.
also we talk so much. Yeah, please.
Yeah. It was nice, sir. Nice.
We are nice. Nice to see you at field. Like you serve the farmers right at their field. That is a very good service. Please do that. Continue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, for most of the spices nurseries.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
For most of the spice nurseries, from a nutrient management point of view or from a media point of view, can you give some overall picture, sir? What is really lacking and what is really required? The nursery aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Because generally in the nurseries, people will not care much about nutrient management. That's why I'm asking this.
yes. Especially it is very important for pepper or because those plants are going to be there in the field for longer time. So use a judicious combination of potting mixture like 1:1:1 is the ideal one. Otherwise, you can go up to only 2:1:1. And if sand is also in many other places, it's not available now. So you can have a combination of coir pith compost that works very well instead of sand also. And quality of FOM to be checked because the pH of the nursery medium should be around near neutral so that all the nutrients which are essential for the plant should be available. And over application of organic, like people tend to use more of cow dung slurry, manure, all those things at weekly intervals at nursery stage, especially in black pepper I am telling about. Like that will induce deficiency of some of the micronutrients like iron, copper. That will be so visible in the nursery plants. And thing is, if they have good facilities for solarization, if they can solarize the mixture or fumigate the mixture, whichever is possible, and try to eliminate, and try immediately they need to fortify with the good bioagents like trichoderma, pseudomonas fluorescens, whatsoever they use, VAM, all those things. That gives a very good root colonization of these beneficial organisms at the nursery stage. That will be very good for the nutrient absorption also, and also because these VAM and all these trichoderma, they help in solubilizing nutrients in the media and then make it available to the plant also. And these are all the thumb rules for general nursery management. And in case of tree crop nurseries, like if they are raising rootstock separately, and in the case of nutmeg and all, try to avoid to have it in a smaller bags or in pots for a longer period. That will start showing exhaustiveness for the period. So regular repotting or adding of a lot of FYM to the mixture should be followed. And generally, what we recommend for black pepper nurseries is the foliar spray of available nutrients, like whether it is NPK, soluble nutrient sources, or micronutrient mixtures. Have a spray at monthly intervals at least to have healthy planting materials for field planting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sir. Yeah, thank you. And one more question. This is related to field actually.
Yeah.
So I went to lot many ginger fields since 2 years.
Yes.
Wherever the ginger was grown as an intercrop along with coconut or areca nut,
Yeah.
the
Incidences.
iron chlorosis is very less compared to
Yes.
the open field cultivation.
Yes.
What's the real reason behind that, sir?
Not only with the iron chlorosis you can relate, but ginger performs well under partial shaded conditions. Even not only with because iron chlorosis may be of a localized problem. Otherwise,
sir.
also the crop performance will be very good under partial shade.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry.
Those who
Good
are
afternoon,
not
sir.
asking question,
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please.
Hello. Sir, I have one question. Sir, we have prepared one organic formulation
Yeah.
to control fungal diseases
Okay.
with using this essentialite and aromatic oils. For registration, they are asking for toxicological data, sir.
Yeah.
What kind of toxicological data actually we need to produce, sir? I don't know actually. I'm the new to this kind of research.
Actually, toxicological data you need to produce it. There are agencies who analyze it only for toxicological data. That you won't get it from because they test it on selected microbes and selected rat and other things, and because they want whether it is toxic to humans when on use. So such a type of tests are done at specific labs. So you can visit the site of CIB, Central Insecticide Board. There you will get the list of organizations allowed for which are doing for toxicological data.
Yes,
So
I contacted, sir. I contacted CIB and that Indian Institute of Toxicological Research, sir.
Yes.
No, but they are not giving what actually what test to be done. They are just telling you we have to only specify. That's what they are telling. What kind of data we need?
No, if you are yours is completely organic.
What, sir? No, sir. We are university, sir. Agriculture university.
No. Yours is organic formulation.
Yes, sir. Organic, sir.
Have you inquired with the NCOF?
I am employed, sir, in agriculture university.
No. Have you inquired with the NCOF?
No, sir. I have not inquired. What is
No,
that?
you contact them. Their office is at Bangalore. Okay.
What is that, sir? NC?
NCOF. You can search it.
Okay.
National Center for Organic Farming.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
They also for organic products they will guide you how to certify it. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Please, sir. Thank you.
Nagaraj sir, if there is no more questions, can we proceed?
Hello, sir.
Mantesh Naik.
Sir, this is Mahantesha, sir.
Yeah.
Very happy New Year, sir.
Yeah.
Very nice presentation and elaborately given the complete propagation aspect and mass multiplication of seed spices. My question is related to cardamom, sir, especially.
Yeah.
So, do you find any like cardamom mosaic virus infection during the seedling stage, sir?
Ah, yes. That will be there. You have to rogue it regularly. Yeah.
Sir, how do you identify them and what is the percentage of the infestation, sir?
No, now it has come down like anything. But if you are taking the seedlings also from a healthy plant, it doesn't. In nursery level, it will be seldom comes only. Otherwise, it is more visible during stress conditions only.
But you are not using any early detection
No,
tools
that
to.
is there. Molecular detection tools are there. That's fine.
Mhm.
That's fine. We have specific primers for identifying the viruses. Everything is there. Our nucleus seed materials is a certified one, and the material, the plant mother plant goes for because we do mainly the the clonal multiplication using sets. So our seed set block, the certified material only goes because it goes to the pathologist. They identify that it is free, then only it goes.
So you basically are using for PCR based detection.
Yes.
No,
Lab based detection techniques are there.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
For that information, we have newly identified few viruses also in cardamom. So we test for all. Even for black pepper, we test for this. And all our nursery, the photos I showed are insect-proof nets. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, I am Ramasamy speaking from Tamil Nadu. Sir, you have not given any details about Tulasi. Tulasi, it is very important for
I have
gods.
not covered everything, sir. I have just covered a tip, maybe. A lot of information is available, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Seeds available?
No, we don't supply seeds, sir. That you have to consult DMAPR or even IAHR also. In Tamil Nadu, TNAU also may supply.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Nagaraj avare.
Okay, sir. If there is no questions from participants, means we will wind up this session, sir. May I now invite Dr. Ashok Suran to propose vote of thanks.
No, first of all, I'll thank from my side for giving me an opportunity to share the information about spices planting, spices and medicinal planting material production techniques with the elite group. And I thank the Horticulture College Bidar for giving me an opportunity to talk to you and talk to the elite group on the online on the New Year occasion, and for giving me an opportunity on this. Thanking you. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
It is a pleasure, sir.
Okay, sir. It gives us a very privilege to propose a vote of thanks. Profuse thanks to Dr. Srinivasan, sir, principal scientist working at Calicut. Sir, he has covered all the crops like spice, medicinal, aromatic crops with a good quality of PPT and explained details about the seed production and method of propagation, mass propagations with all the details in depth, given the brief information about all the participants. On behalf of Horticulture Sciences Balkot, College of Horticulture Bidar, and participants and all our organizing committee, heartfelt thank to the Dr. Srinivas for giving so much nice information about the spice and medicinal crop. Thank you, sir. Thank you
very much.
Thank you, sir. And also I extend my sincere thanks to all the participants for their patience listening. Also I request all the participants to rejoin at 3 o'clock for the afternoon sessions by using same link. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.